Welcome to First Responder Financial Freedom Podcast. We talk to first responders all over the nation who are investing and working on businesses outside their first responder jobs. Our goal is to motivate and educate each other and help provide a better financial understanding for a better future. Now here are your hosts, Mike Webb, Tyler Thrush, and Aaron Foster.
Hey, welcome back to First Responder Financial Freedom. You got Mike, Tyler, and our friend Nate Mitchell out of Ohio, who is a retired sheriff's deputy, correct?
Yeah, I left law enforcement to pursue
Yes.
entrepreneurs. Yep.
All right, so today we're going to kind of talk to Nate about his background in law enforcement and then what that looked like with his entrepreneurial journey. And now he's in the commercial cleaning world, if I recall correctly. So it'll be a little bit different take than some of our normal topics, which obviously are heavily real estate focused. But so welcome to the show, Nate. And why don't you tell everybody a little bit about you?
Yeah, thanks, Mike and Tyler. Yeah, you guys have a great group going. That's how I found you guys. And a little of my history, I've been a deputy for about 10 years in Ohio in a county called Geauga. When I grew up, I always knew I wanted to be in law enforcement of some sort. I always loved running into the fights and trying to break them up and kind of wanted to be that nosy person trying to get in the middle of everything, you know? So law enforcement was a perfect world for me. And as I was in law enforcement, since everything's so expensive, I needed to have extra income coming in. So I was going to open up a car detail shop, and then the overhead of that was just so expensive. I needed a building, and then, next thing you know, it's like I need cars and the drop off. I work night shifts, so it just wasn't a good thing for me. And then my father-in-law actually was like, "You should look into carpet cleaning." I'm like, "No, I'm not a carpet cleaner. Like that is not what I am." And I looked it up to try to prove him wrong, and here, it would have fit great. So I did. I started it, and it kind of resulted in a while later me leaving law enforcement, which I never thought I would do, and just pursuing that path of cleaning, essentially.
Awesome. So did you get into law enforcement right out of high school or college?
Yeah, so I did go to college. I have an associate degree in law enforcement, whatever that means. And then it was just kind of the gap, the age range, of I can't shoot a gun yet, so I'm not 21 and can't go through the academy. And so I went and just got an associate degree through a local college here.
Okay. So you said you got into carpet cleaning, and I'm assuming that was the stepping stone into what you're doing now to some degree.
Yeah.
And that story kind of resonates because we all seem to have similar paths. Where I was looking at Liberty Tax franchises and Subway, and I remember AmeriClean, Carpet Clean, like all these different franchises, basically. So could you just kind of give us the overview how that looked? How did you research the carpet cleaning? Was it a franchise? You just go buy the equipment? What that kind of looked like?
Yeah, so no, I went out and bought the equipment. So believe it or not, what I did once I watched a lot of YouTube videos and I became a YouTube professional, I actually went ahead and I called like all the local carpet cleaners in my area, and I was like, "Hey, do you guys mind if I come do a ride along with you guys?" Like I thought it was kind of like the law.
No, seriously, I'll bring the gun. It's fine.
Yeah, like let's go do a ride along. And well, everyone said no except one person. And that one person I'm still friends with today. And basically what I did is I went out with him on 3 or 4 jobs of his customers. He kind of showed me how to do everything, how he does it. And then I was like, I can do this. This is actually really easy. You just got to mix some stuff, spray it on, and extract it. The biggest investment was the equipment. It was about 40,000 or so of that. And right now you can actually finance it. We're looking at financing another one, but there are a lot of ways to pay for it. So if someone's watching this and they feel like they just can't get that money, there is so much money out there and so many ways that you can take whatever step you want to take to get it done. Whether you want to open a car, auto detailing or the carpet cleaning, power washing, and you need just specialized equipment. There are so many ways to get the money. Do not let the money part be your number one problem of why you're not going to start something.
100%.
But then, so that led to me starting the carpet cleaning company. And then to get more customers, we added on air duct cleaning. So we bought all the air duct cleaning equipment. And then once we added that division, that's when I said, all right, this is way too busy. This is out of control. Believe it or not, we actually almost broke into someone's house because I work night shift. And most of us that worked for Blue Lake at the time were police and fire. It was so easy to hire firefighters as helpers, essentially, and you just pay them really well. And they're like, "Yeah, I'll come work on my days off. Like, I don't want to get yelled at by the wife, you know." Da 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 da. So, they ended up wanting to work. We paid them well, and then I trained them how to do it, and then they would come out. And a lot of our customers, because of that, trusted us, and we were allowed just to go into people's houses when they weren't home. It was very common. Um, when I was a deputy, I worked night shift. That was my main shift, and so I would sleep from like 6 a.m. to about noon, and our first appointments would always start at 9. Well, this customer wasn't home, but actually canceled it at like 7 a.m. that morning, but I was sleeping. So the guys went to the house, and the front door was locked, so they started opening all the windows and stuff, like trying to get into this house because they thought the customer forgot. It was a cluster. So after that point, that was when I was like, I need to do something about it. And that was when I left law enforcement. Oh boy.
Oh boy. So I don't know what happened to Tyler, but he's in California, so they probably throttled back the electric or something. Who knows?
Probably.
Gavin Newsom. Anyways, so all right, so I could sit here and probably just ask questions about this topic for the next 45 minutes, but I won't. But you said you started to need to get more customers. Did you find that just the carpet cleaning wasn't enough to keep your schedule full? And did it start out like were you the operations guy and the back end, or how did that work? Like were you going on the appointments?
Yeah, for the first while, it was just me. It was actually really easy, because that money was just direct to me. I didn't really have to pay anything besides your local taxes, all that good stuff. But besides that, it was me. I was taking calls. Customers would call me. I'd get them scheduled, and then I'd go on the appointment, whenever we had the next available appointment. And for a while, that worked fantastic. Until I hired, once I hired the firefighters and police, that was when I was like, all right, this is kind of getting easier in a sense of now I can book jobs even when I'm at work. I can book jobs. And then it almost was a little less pressure for me because I was able to basically just collect money without really being involved.
So you were like a business owner.
Yeah. So at first, whenever you start a business, you're always going to get like 3 different circles, I like to say. So you're going to get that inner circle. So that inner circle is going to be friends and family, right? So that's going to be an almost immediate rush when you start something. As long as you kind of grew up in that area, you're going to know a lot of people, and a lot of people are going to know you. And if you're not a jerk, which most police and fire guys, I mean, they were kind of hooligans when they were younger, so to say, but for the most part, like everyone liked them. Yeah, borderline. Borderline, we don't admit what we did when we were younger, but everyone liked us. So that was the inner circle. So right away, you had business kind of flowing in. Not a lot, but enough for you to be a little overwhelmed because it's new. You're working, night shift or day shift. Like, it's not your primary source of income, and it's fun, right? At this time, you're also making mistakes. You're screwing up on people's carpet. You're, you know, just making mistakes that shouldn't happen in a normal customer's house. After that, you go to an outer circle. Now we're at like your friends' friends. So now we're kind of in another ring. And so now you're kind of getting, all right, I'm getting good at this. I shouldn't do that, or I should do that. And then you kind of need to rely on your advertising. Looking back now, I should have advertised more right when I was almost done, like that inner circle, like your friends and family, right? Because anytime you advertise, it's like almost 90 days out before you see a direct impact from that advertisement. So that's something now that I know, but I didn't know then. So go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just going to say I'm not a realtor, but they tell you to basically do the same thing. They list the first 100 people in your sphere of influence, and you just call them and basically start with your friends and family in that circle. And then it's like, hey, I know somebody, I don't have a property to sell, but my Aunt Tammy does or something.
Yep, for sure.
So that's any business, just getting that lead flow, whether you're trying to wholesale properties or you're trying to clean carpets. Like, you got to get stuff through the top of the funnel in order to get the business. You said something about there are issues. And I think it's very easy whenever you're looking at something like this to get excited about all of the possibilities, and the business starts rolling in. And but
Yeah.
what happens, and what were some scenarios, or what did you do if, like, hey, you said you messed up somebody's carpet, like, or even if you didn't, you get somebody that's stating that you did you have to have any special insurance? How did you rectify stuff like that? Because it's not like, hey, somebody doesn't like the car detailing you did, might be able to redo it, something along
Mhm.
those lines. If you damage somebody's subfloor or carpet or baseboard, they might be a little more difficult. So what happened there? How'd that look?
So a lot of the kind of complaints that you're going to get at first are more quality, right? Like your carpet smells damp for 3 or 4 days, or that spot didn't come out. So what I would always do is I'd never run away from those customers. One, because they're your inner circle and they're your family and friends. So if you screw it up, you're in trouble. Like everyone's gonna know, and then there goes your inner circle. So what I did was I just called people. There was a local supplier close to us where we'd get our chemicals from. I'd call them, be like, "Hey, this is what happened. This is the result. Like, what should I do?" And then you just learn from that. And I would say that no matter what business you get into, you're going to have that. And that's why it's important to build relationships with people around you, even people you don't know, because you might need them. Like I said, I trained with one of the local carpet cleaners. I called him on a few times, like, "Hey, dude, like this, I messed this up. What do I do?" And he would tell me what to do. And I think
Yeah,
just from doing that, you need to do it.
it's easy. I try, and like we said before we started, I think about a lot of times whenever we do these or I post something, not necessarily for the person that has the business like you do. What is the person thinking that wants to do this? Like, what is that thing that is keeping them back? And I think at times it's, well, see, he just said, somebody's going to complain, you messed this up. It's like, hey man, things are going to happen. Like, the whole progress over perfection. Just keep moving forward, do
Hmm.
the right thing, and ultimately it'll work itself out. If you're
Hmm.
doing, poor work, overcharging, not delivering on what you said, well, then you kind of get what you deserve, right? So I've always said with real estate, like you said, networking,
Hmm.
most, and if I had to guess, 90% of the problems within real estate, whether you're flipping houses, rentals, you name it, can be solved with probably about 15 minutes and 3 phone calls. Like, I don't, like, right now I'm dealing with a foundation issue. I don't really know a lot about foundations. I got the basics, but like, cool. I called this guy. He referred me to that guy. Next thing you know, I got like a good foundation guy going out there to take care of it. So it's like,
Yeah.
don't let those problems become such mountains in your mind that you're not willing to just say, like, you know what? I can figure this out. Like, it's not that bad. Like, I'd call 3 people. It took an hour. Whoop de doo. But now I have that in my repertoire, so that if it happens again, I'm just a more mature and efficient business owner. You know?
For sure. I think that that's a huge thing why people don't want to start, or just the camaraderie of failure, with your friends, right? So I remember when I told all my buddies who were deputies I'm opening a carpet cleaning company,
I
they're
bet they were so supportive.
they really encouraged me, lots of
Yeah.
jokes,
Is that
but
what? Probably a lot like our encouragement. Yeah. Yeah.
but it's just, I mean, it worked. So I think you just, if you have something in mind that you'd like to start, I mean, I think service-based companies for any first responders will win. I mean, you will succeed to some
100%.
level. Whether it is you want to leave law enforcement or fire or not, I think that you will have something that will easily equal your wages for police or fire at a minimum.
So, on that note, I went to this paving like supply store for a project recently, and I posted it on Instagram, and I threw it out there. Like, I was pretty serious. Like, if somebody wanted to do it, I'd be willing to like partner up with them. But they had one of those big commercial driveway ceiling, like pull behind trailer operations,
Mhm.
and I broke it down like within 10 minutes. I was like, this is exactly what I would do. And it would be a service based business. We'd have somebody on the phone doing some SEO, pay per click, getting on the Facebook yard sale pages and HOA groups. And then I would have 2 guys or girls per shift, like A, B, and C, and they'd show up in some sort of like navy blue pants and a gray t-shirt, look somewhat presentable, not high, not drunk. They show up on time. Whenever they leave, here's our QR code for our Google review. And it was like, I don't know the expense ratios, but I think I did 50%. I was like, so right here's the blueprint on how to make $100,000.
Mm-hmm.
And not for everybody, but for a lot of people, that would replace their law enforcement or fire income, at least base pay.
Yeah.
So, and that was, again, I get it, an Instagram post, but the thought was like, here's a service-based business. Yeah, you might have to hustle until you get the ball rolling, but then you got, like you said, you got crews out there working while you're doing X, Y, or Z, or
Mm-hmm.
building the next leg of the business. And so I think you can't go wrong with service-based businesses.
No.
And the line of work we come from, you're already dealing with the public. You're already in and out of houses and just different situations and scenarios that makes you, I think, more in tune with operating there than the guy that just broke out of cubicle hell and has only ever dealt with spreadsheets for the last 10 years. Not that
Yeah.
that's not a valuable skill, just
Oh. Yeah.
dude. So I just the air duct cleaning. So I had that done. So I have a little one who was having some allergy problems and
Yeah.
it's always congested. So I was like, oh, whoa, what's that? Do you see that? It made a thumbs up. Yeah, well, I was on the phone with Travis doing one of these, and a bunch of balloons went up. But anyways, I was like,
Good job.
"Dang, yeah, I'm so proud of you." But anyways, yeah, seriously. But air duct cleaning. Uh, I was like, man, there's not much to this. So obviously, you own a air duct cleaning and carpet cleaning business. Could you, in as much as you're comfortable in generalities, kind of
Yeah.
walk people through maybe like what that looks like as far as what's a typical job? Like how much is your average ticket? What's your average expense ratio? And that way you can kind of re-engineer what it would take to kind of build a book of business that is like, okay, I'm just trying to make an extra 40 or 50 grand a year. This is what I need to do. Versus, hey, I'm trying to get, remember the, not junk dog, but the fire dog. Like they had that, all those trash trucks and he had a full blown, like scaled operation. But so I'm just curious from the carpet cleaning, duct cleaning thing, what do the numbers kind of look like?
Yeah, sure. And just to add, we also do house cleaning now. We've done it for about 8 months. That is something I wouldn't really recommend anyone
I was
getting.
going to say that'd be a staffing nightmare, I would think.
The profit margins are small too. So, and when was the last time you met a cop or firefighter that wants to go clean their house? You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna make $20 to go clean this house. You're like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
Right.
The air duct cleaning is good. You need two people to do it right. So that would be the downfall with someone that would want to start doing air duct cleaning. There are different methods you could do that aren't as good for air duct cleaning. That, the quality's not there. So I would say that, if you're a first responder and you wanted to do a high level of service, um, I would actually venture into carpet cleaning because you can do it alone. So right away, you're relying on yourself, not someone else's schedule. So Mike, if you and I were had to do an air duct job and you got called in for overtime, I mean, we'd have to cancel the job, and it would probably ruin our friendship because I'd be like, "What the heck, Mike?" You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we just lost out on $1,000 today.
Yeah.
Um, But the pricing for the air duct cleaning, our average ticket is about $650, and your essential cost is just labor. So whatever you're paying your employees, that's it. Carpet cleaning has been our most profitable though, because we pay our people pretty well. Carpet cleaning, we can go in and we go by square footage, so we're able to just really be able to kind of go quicker, as well as we're doing only one person, so we have half the labor rate right off the bat.
Okay. So do you go out and bid the job first, or did they just call and say, hey, this is how many rooms, and you can ballpark it? Or
Yep, that's exactly what we do. So when we call in, we ask for their address, obviously their name, some other stuff, and then we're like, how many rooms would you like to get cleaned? And then next thing we say, do you happen to know the size of those rooms? 90% of people say no, they have no idea what size the rooms are. So we just say, okay, the average room size for that area is X amount. We're going to go ahead and base the quote off that X amount of square footage. When our techs arrive, they'll go ahead and measure that room and then just adjust the quote if needed. And we always adjust the quote, because they're always a little bigger or smaller, but they're usually within the ballpark. I don't know why my camera keeps doing that, but they're usually in that ballpark. And same with air duct cleaning. We actually go off the square footage of a house. Some companies go off the number of registers that you have. We've also found that most people don't know how many registers they have in their house, let alone where their furnace is. So, it's like, for us, it was just easier. It was more consistent. And I also wanted to avoid having to go out to each customer's house before we got the quote, because that's money out of our pocket. I mean, that's a job I couldn't
and you're
do.
just running around like a crazy person.
Yeah.
Like, so you said carpet cleaning. So I don't know. Like, I'm assuming these are 1099 type folks that are working for you. And if
They're
they're
W-2.
Oh, they are?
Mm-hmm.
So even when they started out, they were W-2 employees?
Well, right off the rip, it was under the table. So right off the rip.
Yeah, I was just curious because, like, I'm thinking, like, I have a couple 1099 guys that I call them my facility managers for my storage facilities. And because it's part-time, usually they're like the lawn care type guys. They got a dump trailer, they got all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I find I have to pay them a little bit, like 20 or 30 bucks an hour, but they're only doing 2 hours a week or 4 hours a week. It's not like
Right.
this massive thing. And I found that I've gotten a better quality person whenever it's like, okay, they're not, I could probably get somebody for 15, but like I'm paying this guy 30 and it's like taken care of, And if you got people going in and out of houses and whatnot, representing your brand, to me, it's like, is $20-$30 an hour? Like, is that, obviously it's going to depend if you're in LA or Ohio. I get that. But is that like a ballpark probably?
Yeah. So once the techs are trained, I pay them 30 an hour.
Okay.
Once they're all good to go, they're trained. Most of them come from police and fire backgrounds. We have kind of a richer area. It's called Beechwood. We have a Beechwood guy who comes out, and the customers also tip. So a lot of times, they're getting 30, from start of the day when they pick up the van to end of day, plus, if the customer tips. I was going to try to do a commission base, but it got complicated. It was like, then plus, like, if they go to your house, Mike, they're trying to sell you on the couch cleaning, or Tyler, they're trying to sell you on something you don't even want. It's just protector, right? For all the animals you don't have. So it's like, once I got away from that very quick. If they needed it, just sell it to them. Whatever they need, offer it to them.
Yeah.
But I didn't want their pay to be based on that.
And you said pretty much it's labor. So on average, how long does it take for your average ticket? Like, is it a 2-hour job? Do you book 2 a day? Do you book 5 a day?
So I do $1,000 per truck. That's what my goal for the day is, $1,000 per truck.
Gross.
Usually it's about 8 hours.
Okay. So you're looking to bring in about, it's funny because I've been talking to a guy that does roof washing and house washing, and that's his target for the day. Is he wants the truck to make $1,000 a day gross. And then, obviously he's got to pay his labor and whatnot, but, man, Tyler's getting censored.
But,
so But
Yeah, no,
that's pretty cool. I'm just curious because you see I totally agree. First off, with the service based business, and I would love to be able to start something like that driveway sealing or carpet cleaning. But
mhm.
the caveat is, I absolutely will not be the operator. I will be the visionary, but I cannot be the integrator. I already have too much on my plate. But I definitely see the value in it, and I mean, I haven't really focused on making that like a target, but I think
Mhm.
about it a lot. So, how much does the equipment? Would you say 40 grand?
Yeah,
40?
first, so we were able to cut back on some costs because we put it in an enclosed trailer. So usually you see
Oh, I
carpet
got one
cleaning
in my
trucks.
driveway.
Yeah, I mean usually you see carpet cleaning trucks. They're all truck mounts in a van. So we just mounted it in a trailer.
Okay.
That saved us about $40,000. To not buy a
Yeah.
new van. It was also really important to me that we got the right equipment. So because reputation is key, especially when you're police and fire. I mean, you get that one or two people that say you did a bad job, and it's because your equipment. I mean, you might as well just buy the right equipment.
Yeah.
Um,
I've learned that the hard way. Um, just kind of like whenever I started with rentals, I would just kind of go to Ollie's or whatever and get the whatever was on sale, lipstick on a pig mentality. And
mhm.
then as that evolved, I realized, like I'm already paying for the labor. It doesn't cost that much more to buy good material or, not solid cherry cabinets, but like
Right,
buy decent stuff because it's only going to cost you more down the road to do it again. So
for sure.
same concept. Um, I was just gonna say, yeah. Mhm.
So you're basically just going to pull whether it's a line of credit or you're going to pull a personal or a secured loan somehow, or just a personal loan unsecured. Most of the time you can do it. It's kind of like similar to buying a car. You're just going to go. You're going to pay $500 a month. So what's going to cover that $500 a month for you? So if you're pulling 1,000 a day, and let's just say you work like one day a week, right? So now you got 4,000. So it, why wouldn't you do it? Why wouldn't you? You're going to profit $3,500 on your labor only minus your truck payment. So that almost, that's more than half, almost your whole wage at whatever you are, fire or police. And like I said, there are ways to pay for it. I mean, shoot, if someone went to Mike, you'd probably support them and just pay for it for them.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not just straight pay for it. I would 100% be interested in something like that. So if anybody's listening, let's
Yeah, there
talk.
you go.
But I know Tyler and Aaron, I think was mentioned it also. Like we thought it'd be kind of like a cool real life case study, like investing in somebody. We were actually thinking we were talking dump trailers, a dump trailer business. We're like, hey, we'll front the capital. We'll basically provide. Not that we're great experts on a lot of this stuff, but like we'll help basically set it up, advertise it, do that stuff, and basically kind of watch it play out for the group.
Hmm.
Like here is a business starting from scratch, and here's some of the issues we've had. Here's some of the good things, and just kind of watch it grow. But yeah, the point is, there's people and ways and places to fund deals. I don't care what it is, whether it be a credit card, a line of credit, your uncle. I put away a couple bucks from working overtime. Like I was working overtime and I was working part time somewhere else, and I was just saving a little bit of money, and that was just enough. If you follow any of the Gary Keller stuff for Keller Williams, he always talks about that lead domino, and that was enough capital to basically put towards it to get that first little domino to go forward to then hit the bigger one and then the bigger one and then the bigger one to where now I have a lot of room to still go, but I wouldn't even think twice about that being the obstacle. I'd be more worried about just filling the calendar and just making sure there was enough demand, as people get rid of carpet, going to LVP and all this stuff.
Hmm.
That would be my only concern, but I think that's more of a limiting belief. There's probably a ton of houses still with carpet.
Yeah, I
Mine
mean, and
included.
we also use the same equipment to clean LVP.
Really? How do you do
Yeah.
that? I'm curious.
So it's a different wand attachment, but you basically are steam cleaning the LVP, and then
Okay.
you can actually seal it as well, so that it kind of gives that like the shiny finish.
Okay.
But it's really popular in commercial settings because
Yeah.
um, there's like the grooves and stuff, and like stuff gets stuck in the grooves, and so then
Yeah.
with a truck mount unit, you have enough power to suck all that out. So
Like
even though
truck and trailer, like are you using that interchangeably? Like I could have it mounted in the enclosed trailer
yes,
type
yeah,
thing. Not and the differentiation, I guess, is, and certainly not the expert here. Like if you go to the grocery store and rent the little red one up front or at Home Depot, that what I was always told, those things don't get hot enough to extract like the commercial truck mounted equipment. Is that
that's 100%. I mean,
yeah.
couple things. One, if you're using a rug doctor, where like Home Depot and stuff,
Yeah.
the last person I talked to had actually cleaned up a murder scene with it. Not a murder scene, but almost. It was an apartment complex, and the guy was the maintenance, and the owner just had to take care of it. So after the police left, they left
My
all
man did. He
the
took
good
care of
stuff back.
it.
So he went and rented a rug doctor to like suck up all that, you know what I mean? And then he brought it back. So think of that next
He
time
was
you're
done
with a
with
rug
it.
doctor, you
Yeah,
know,
God, that's
um,
disgusting.
suck up all that Slurpee, you know. Ugh. Anyways,
Yeah.
so
Oh God.
but yeah, so the biggest difference is the suction power and the heat and the pressure. Um, so the actual unit itself that we had was $25,000. That was how much the actual unit cost that stayed in the trailer, and then we run the hoses inside your house. So kind of the bigger machine that you get, the longer hose lengths you can run, the more suction you have inside of a house. So you want to have a good piece of equipment so you have a higher suction, so it's sucking a lot of that water out. With LVP cleaning, you're going to want a good unit because you're going to be putting out a lot more pressure, kind of like you're power washing inside someone's house, but it's sucking up all that water at the same time. So you're going to want something with a little bit of a higher power. I mean, the ones we're buying now, are around $40,000 just for the truck mount itself. So we have two carpet cleaning trucks. We don't have them mounted in the trailer anymore because we found that with employees and things like that, a lot of people don't know how to drive a trailer. So that was something that I would have never thought of at the beginning, right? Like, who knows how to back up a trailer? It's like all of a sudden all these firemen don't know how to do it, but we're police. So I wanted to get out of that when I could. So 2 years ago, we bought our first Ford Transit. And then last year we bought a Chevy Express. And then this year we're going to buy another Ford Transit. Um, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Just like probably Nate's truck, like there's a lot of benefits.
Yeah,
The tax code rewards the business owner, not the employee. And
for
that's
sure.
become
And,
very apparent to me.
when you have a service based business and you're a full time somewhere, full time fire, police, what I try to help them do and encourage them to do is if you have a take home car, you are 100% using your truck, your personal truck, as your home service vehicle. Like that is your work vehicle now. So now all of a sudden, once you create your business account, you can pay for your truck. You can lease it to yourself, and pay for your truck out of that account. Now it becomes a write off, and you're not paying it out of your account, your personal account, which money you already had got taxed on, from payroll. So, and I feel like I just need to add, I'm not a tax advisor. However, there was a tax advisor that told me that. But all of a sudden, money starts becoming freer for your family. In a sense, now you're going to start paying for a lot more things out of your business account.
Sure.
And
That dollar
that's,
goes further.
yeah. I mean, when I was a deputy, and had the side business, I profited zero for like the first couple of years because what I ended up doing was that's exactly what I did. Was all of a sudden my truck became 100% a work vehicle, right? So now, but I'm making more, bringing home more with my paychecks from the sheriff's office because I'm not using them to pay for my truck. And when my wife, who also is an owner of Blue Lake, when we went out and to eat and we talked about business, all right, that's a business expense now. So now that's not coming out of my personal pot. That's coming out of the business pot.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of things like that once you open up, a service-based company, it really helps.
So now that I'm ready to start a carpet cleaning business or a driveway sealing business here, um,
Right?
like I like the carpet cleaning. It's less weather impact. You can do it year round. I'm just sitting here like this is the curse. Like I sit there and
Yeah.
then we'll think about this the rest of the day. I'm like, oh, we could do this, we could do that. So do you run it as I take it based on your shirt and what you've mentioned. You run it as a branded operation, like it looks professional, obviously. And does Blue Lake cleaning encompass more than just those two things we've talked about now? Or I'm sorry, well, you did say you do cleaning. So is it all focused primarily towards residential? Do you have a mix between residential and commercial? Or
We have
what's
a
your business
mix.
look like now?
Yeah, we have a mix. I would say 80% is residential. Probably about 20% is commercial. The thing that's always tough about commercial is they take forever to pay, right? So that's pretty big when you have employees because now you're carrying your employees' payroll right now. And it maxes you out very quick. So, February, a great example is we had a lot of commercial accounts that called us and needed cleaning, which was fine. However, we still haven't gotten paid for those commercial accounts. So we're carrying, about 800 hours of payroll, which then now all of a sudden you have cash flow issues. You have, all these new issues that arise. So I kind of want to keep that residential because those pay after completion. After those techs are complete, they collect the money, they bring it in, it's done. I don't have to go money chasing.
So have you ever um, considered like or looked at like a subscription model? Like, hey, the commercial companies, like you pay $7,000 a year or whatever based on their square footage, and you come and do it once a quarter type thing. Like that would be more predictable, and they could break up their payment like Q1, Q2, or monthly. I feel like monthly might be a little too frequent, but or like Sally homeowner, she pays Blue Lake. She's on the subscription plan, whatever it comes out to be, but it just makes your book of business a little more consistent so that the cash flow every month, Miss Sally is maybe
Mm-hmm.
paying, or every quarter, Miss Sally's paying $200 and you show up and you do the spring and the fall cleaning or whatever it is. Have you ever looked at that model?
Yeah, so in our house cleaning division, that's actually what we do. So our house cleaning, we do weekly, bi-weekly, and monthly cleans. Um, and we do exactly that. We bill them monthly. Some will actually bill at the time of service, so we just collect it when we leave. Um, for commercial, the the trickier you get with commercial, the less likely you're going to get the job, is what I've found. So we don't do a lot of commercial cleaning in a sense of like janitorial. We don't do any janitorial stuff. However, have heard that market is really good. So um,
Uh, I know a guy that used to still does that, but like, yeah. In talking with him, it was very lucrative,
yeah, very.
but it was
But
a staffing nightmare.
yeah. So that is a different mindset. That's you're going to pay employees, 13 or 14 an hour. I really don't care the quality. Neither does them, but they just have to say it's being cleaned.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is not our model at all because right now we're going into high-end homes, cleaning them. If I sent a $13 an hour employee into that situation, we would absolutely fail. So it's you have to remember who your client is, and the
Sure.
majority of someone that's hiring police and fire, we can price a little bit higher because we're trustworthy to begin with, um, but that person is going to be a little bit higher end in general. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was a deputy, still works for Geog. I helped him start a window washing company. He started in February, from zero. So there's been a couple people that I've helped, but he started from zero. I talked to him toward the end of March. He was up $3,000.
Yeah,
from
and
window
that's
washing.
exactly. And we've actually had a guy on here from Naperville, Illinois, Squeegee Squad, right? So that there's so many cool little things that you can get into. It doesn't need to be just carpet cleaning. Find something that interests you, right? But yeah, I love having those like one-off conversations that, just to be clear, I don't think like move the needle for them to start a business, but like one of the guys I work with, he's doing his own online fitness coaching now. This guy's doing this lawn care thing. It's just cool to see these guys take some of the information and just like, you know what, I'm going to hang the shingle out front and say I'm open for business and see what happens. Because at the end of the day, if it doesn't work out, you can wrap it up, go back to law enforcement,
Hmm.
go back to fire. If you're a paramedic, you can always have a job. So it's one of those things like, really, what's the worst case scenario? And I don't know how much equipment you need for window washing, but it's probably not too bad, right?
Mm-mm. No, I would
Um,
say, I mean, most of those companies use Dawn dish soap,
yeah, yep. Or
with just the
bleach.
squeegee. So, yeah, you can get out of it for, under $100. You
Yeah.
can have a window washing company.
Yeah. Go buy your equipment at Costco. So if it doesn't work out, you can return it. No questions asked. And,
Perfect. Yeah.
I mean, what more do you want here, people? So
I know.
no, it's cool, man. So what is, how many people do you have now? Is it, what's next for kind of Blue Lake? Where do you want to take this? What do you want to branch out to?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So we have about 14 people right now.
Is that
The,
full time, part time, a mix?
we have 10 full time. The
Okay.
four are part
I keep
time.
you busy.
Yeah, we're busy. It's all sorts of stuff. The house cleaning division is what kicks my butt right now. That's the newest division, and that is the hardest division out of all of them. Managing expectations as well as trying to pull profit over labor is challenging. Especially when we are known as the high end company, the company that's going to get every little detail, and to put that into house cleaning, yeah, you can do it in 45 minutes, but I think it's going to take us an hour and a half, 2 hours. Like, so you have to find the right customers for that, and there's always
Yeah.
someone that's going to do it cheaper. But
Are
um,
you, have you ever just considered, say, scrapping that part of the business and double down on the carpet cleaning or
I
expand that
have.
footprint?
I'm trying to do both right now, in a sense of I'm trying to double down in both the divisions, and then trying to master the carpet or the house cleaning division. I really like the house cleaning division because it's such a consistent flow of income. I mean, what I saw is in the 3 months already that we've had, certain customers have already valued out some of the customers, really good carpet cleaning and air duct cleaning customers from last year, because we're constantly taking $400 every other week, 400, and all that stuff is adding up so quick that if we can make it work, it will work. Constantly. Yeah, it constantly feeds it. I mean, that and air duct cleaning. I mean, it's hard to calculate out exactly what jobs are fed from house cleaning, because they might call you a month later, or we might have just quoted them house cleaning, but the division manager was like, "Hey, like, I noticed your air ducts need cleaned, so maybe we don't get the house cleaning job, but now all of a sudden we got a $700 air duct job." And it's hard
Yeah.
to find that out.
You've, I've often thought about this, but have you ever heard like the fractional CFO type model? Like, hey, maybe Nate can't afford a CFO, but needs like a fractional bookkeeper accountant on retainer. Like you can hire a fractional person, and maybe Tyler, say the three of us each basically paid a third of the salary, a third of the salary, and we had at our disposal a fractional CFO. Same thing, kind of like with like a concierge maintenance housekeeper type person. Like, hey, the I'm sure I would think to some extent, like, hey, if Tommy is going to go clean this house, he's the one that cleans it pretty much all the time because he probably gets better and knows like, hey, we got to do this, we got to do that. So now Tommy is like the concierge provider for that house. And he's like, hey, I noticed, like you said, the ducts need cleaned or the carpet needs cleaned. Hey, by the way, I noticed you got the siding or the brick needs washed. And even if you don't have that service, you can basically refer it out to somebody else, or you refer out the window cleaning to this guy. He now basically kicks you a little bit of
Yep.
the ticket. And it just basically becomes this ecosystem to where, especially if you're going after a above average like client, like higher income, those people are busy. They don't want to be worrying about this getting scheduled and the guy coming to do the gutters and this guy doing the windows. Like he basically knows, I call Nate, it gets handled, and my house looks good, and this is what I pay every month. You make it simple, right? It's kind of
Yeah.
like that
Yeah.
concept.
And we actually do that now in a sense, basically affiliate fees.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so
that's
we do that now. And that's kind of another reason why I started that group that I started, was like trying to find all those, like, every time you talk to someone, they're like, oh, I know so-and-so who's a firefighter who washes windows. And you're like, who is that? Who does that?
yeah.
And it's like, you're always searching. You're like, who does that? And you don't even know. But so that's kind of why I started that, beyond the badge stuff. So, I'm excited
Yeah.
to see that grow.
Awesome. So, well, we got about 15 minutes or so. Why don't we move into that? Like, what is, for anybody watching, it does say underneath Nate's name, founder of Beyond the Badge Entrepreneur. So maybe could you explain what that is and what the whole goal is of that group?
Yeah. So basically, for the last 4 months or so, I've really enjoyed like trying to help other police and fire start side businesses. I truly think that instead of working overtime, you need to go have your own side business because of those things that I talked about. Because you can free up your income that you're already getting from the sheriff's office or first responder world, and then paying for those things that you're going to pay for anyways. It's just now you're freeing up your personal money. And I've helped a few people do that, and then I saw kind of the joy and how it freed up their money. And then it's like, how can I reach more people, more first responders? How can I do it? And after calling some people, talking to some people, I decided to start the Facebook group Beyond the Badge Entrepreneur, in hopes that I can reach more first responders. And I have. I mean, I've met a lot of cool people. Obviously, we're talking. I don't think we would have ever talked if I didn't have that. So I think that it just gives a lot of, I don't know, advertisement essentially to first responders to join, and then it's like, all right, you have a problem, call me, and maybe we can help.
Yeah, absolutely. And our groups sound like they were very similar for the reasons they were started in the goal. And I always joke, like I was actually standing at a bistro table at the back of the conference room at Fuel, Tyler, whenever I started the actual Facebook group. I was just sitting back there and I was like, dude, because I know Tyler, and then I got Aaron. I had John Monday, I had Mike, I had all these friends. I'm like, man, there's so many freaking firemen that I keep running into in these circles. And it's like, I don't run into like 7 dentists, but
No.
I've run into like 12 firemen that flip houses or whatever. So I was like, so I just basically started it so that I could start chit chatting with these folks, and
Mm-hmm.
with no real plan of what to do. And then we started chatting, and then that's how we met. Aaron and Tyler met. So we started the podcast, and it's just kind of turned into like, I view it as a passion project,
Mm-hmm.
because frankly, I don't directly make anything off of it. None of us do.
Mm-hmm.
But it it's one of those, like, you just kind of give, and then like every now and then like something comes your way, even if you don't intend for it to. And you're just out there cultivating your ecosystem, and it's hard for opportunity not to present itself when you're out there just watering the garden, and if you do it with no intentions of ever, you know, harvesting the crop, like people realize that, and they everybody wins that way, I think, and it's pretty cool just with all the bullshit you see on social media. Like, I like to think our group is, and haven't been around yours enough to know, but like
Yeah.
it's genuine people where like I could sit there and call a fire. Matter of fact, I got a text message from a fireman in Ohio yesterday. Like I can sit there and immediately have a level of rapport with him, and understand like some of the common issues that he has, I have type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't really do that to a large extent in just the general pop, in my opinion. So
I agree. I think that it's just a good way to connect with other police and fire that have similar mindsets.
yeah,
Let's grow together. Like, what do we need to do to get to the next step? I actually thought, was there someone on your page actually, said the word scale, and
yeah.
you
Tommy,
know, Tommy, and
he quit the police department, so he'd be
really,
somebody you'd probably enjoy talking to. Yeah,
yeah, no, I'd
he's a
love to.
character.
I'd love to. I need to figure out how he does what he does and not want to grow, or so to say, anymore. I would love to meet him.
Yeah,
But it's just interesting because I think so many people, police and firewise, want to do things. They just don't know how or believe that they can.
yeah.
Um,
That's
you
the
know,
yeah
they
that's we talk about.
they just yeah, right,
Yeah,
yeah, but this, yeah, but this, yeah, but this, yeah, but this, and somehow they still don't have time. And once you prioritize and see how much money you can make and how much money is actually out there, I mean, it's amazing.
it's
Um,
overwhelming to me. Like that was definitely, I would say, a limiting belief I had when I got started. Like, man, where are you going to find 40 grand? Dude, I just had a guy that I've never met in person send me a check for $315,000.
mhm.
Never met this guy in person. And actually, this is the second check. I actually have over $600,000 of his in play, but it all started because of stuff like this. And it's just like, this guy is, you would walk right by him on the street. From what I've
Yeah,
seen on calls like this. Um, it's there's a lot of money out there. And honestly, if
there
I could
is.
figure out how to do, I had a conversation with a guy so I have a hard money lending company also.
Okay.
And a guy stopped by the firehouse the other day. He's like, "Hey man, uh, I'm retiring in December and I'm going to get this drop check and it needs to go into this type of account. Can you use that type of money?" I'm sitting there like, I don't know, but I need to figure this out, because usually it's just people that have some money in a
Cash.
savings account or a line of credit, whatever. But like, if I could figure that out, like I can sit there and help him, he can help me. And it's like, man, that's a whole nother thing I could bust wide open. Haven't even looked at. So
Yeah, Mike, I probably have a good contact for you actually. Keith Marish, he's out of Cleveland. He owns a specialized IRA, but basically you can, take first responders' retirements, transfer them into, self-directed IRAs, and essentially they could give
mhm.
you a note for that money, and you could buy houses with it. The only thing is,
Yeah.
is when you pay that person back, it goes right into the retirement. Just so
Sure.
anyone
Yeah,
wants to know.
I have a self-directed account. I do the same thing, but I've
Yep.
never received anybody. And I guess you could just do a personal promissory note.
Yeah. Exactly.
Um, and it's real. I mean, that's top of the food chain when you're writing the paper. So if you're one of those guys, they have to love it. You're protected by the property. But yeah, anyways, I need to look into that a little bit more.
Yeah, we have a lot of good options. I mean, you can do, and I mean, just for anyone listening too, you can use other people's money too to if you have a really good friend who's in police or fire, you can borrow against their retirement if you're good friends enough, with a promissory note, and just
Yeah,
get it. So there's different ways to invest that I would have never guessed when I was only a deputy
yeah,
for everything.
absolutely.
But
So we're wrapping. Yeah, well,
right, um, yeah,
and to steal a quote from not me, um, go as far as you can see, and once you're there, you'll see a little bit further. So like, don't think that you have to see the 14 employees, 3 trucks, and a big book of business right from the start. You only need to see that first job. Pick up the phone, call the people around you, learn, do the ride along. That's the first step. That's once you see that, then you can kind of be like, all right, well, this is the type of equipment I would buy. That so I think myself included, it's very easy to sit there and be like, man, that dude's got 3,000 units, yeah, but like, let's look at the first one, So
Yeah.
so we're wrapping up. Last couple minutes, Nate. Is there anything we haven't covered that you want to hit on quickly? If not, we got a couple final questions that I'm going to try and think of real quick while you answer this.
Yeah, I mean, I had something, and of course now I forgot what it was. Um, there were some mistakes I think that I made at the beginning, and I think that's where the value is with having like a mentor, and hopefully, we'll be able to connect with some people. It's like if you're looking at doing real estate, like talk to Mike, talk to Tyler, like reach out. They like we all genuinely want to help other police and fire grow. So, if you're starting a service-based company, like please reach out to me. Like I will tell you, hey, that cost you a lot of that cost me a lot of money. Don't do that. Like it really did. And I wish that I had a mentor at that time that could have been like, hey, I wish I would have done this. Great example for me is a CRM. How we obtain customer information and how we schedule jobs. And I thought small, so I got just a little um, CRM program, and now I'm on a bigger program, which I could have just grown into when I first started, and it wouldn't have cost me anymore. So that's a huge mistake for me. Um, or the profit first method, like how to have your business accounts. I mean, the profit first book, if you haven't got it, make
Yeah,
sure you read
Mike
it. I mean,
McCallowitz. That's
yeah, I
good.
mean, there's just so many things that I think a mentor, and I know in law enforcement fire, we don't like that word as far as like I'm going to learn from someone else. But
Yeah,
there are a lot of mistakes that I made that I didn't need to make if I had someone that was just like, hey, do this, not that. Here's why.
100%. Yeah, that stupid tax is very painful, and um, I just look at it this way, like a coach, like they're gonna just cut down your learning curve. Just pick the topic. That's what they do is they get you to the end result or the goal faster.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's really what it is. Don't let your ego stop you from investing in those. So,
And then one more thing, Mike, I
yeah.
wanted to tell you too. I think sometime in the summer or late fall, we're going to do a first responder event.
Oh yeah, that
So,
was a text I got from Nate. He's like, "Let's do this event." I'm sorry, I forgot about it until you
way to
text
go,
me
Mike.
today.
Way
Yeah,
to go.
I I'm pretty horrible at like I'll read an email or a text message while I'm doing something, and I'll be like, "Oh, I'll get back to that later," and then I totally forget, and then I'm like, "Ooh." So, but yeah,
Yes.
so your event,
So
go.
we're going to do an event. Um, I don't have the date yet, but I have talked to a few speakers who are police and fire, kind of within the community, and I do still need a real estate speaker. I think that'd be cool. But my plan is to have like a day event for police and fire entrepreneurs. Well, I don't know cost. I don't know any of those details. Yes, it will cost money. No, I don't know how much because for one, if I wanted you to come out, Mike, and talk, it's not like I want you to have to pay that out of pocket. And I think just saying that, I think that everyone that would want to come to this event would understand that. Like, hey, Mike shouldn't have to pay $3,000 for a hotel and all this stuff to stay, in Cleveland.
Well, and it's funny because Tyler, Aaron, and I recorded probably a 30-minute discussion that I don't think we ever aired, discussing this exactly. Like, first off, I think it's awesome. You should 100% do it. Two, it's one of those things. You have two types of people that say if it's a one-day event, it's $600. You're gonna get two types of people: the holy shit, how much? And the other type, that's it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and if you look at it as a $600 cost, you shouldn't be in that room. If you look at it as it's only $600, it could teach me something. I'm going to make 60,000 or 600,000 or whatever. Like, if you're not willing to kind of make that investment, you're probably not quite ready to jump yet. But I think it's an awesome opportunity. That sounds super
Yeah.
cool.
So I talked to a fitness person. I talked to two like wellness coaches for police and fire that were police and fire in the past. I'm really trying to keep it like only police and fire, either has been or is.
Yeah,
Um, because I feel like that we just connect better with people from that world. So I
When you
still
could
like
get
the,
away with a lot more inappropriate jokes. No, I'm just
for sure.
kidding.
Yeah. I mean, look at Street Cop, right? I mean, it's fine.
So,
Um, so yeah, just throwing that out there. I don't have a date yet. I'll definitely let everyone know, especially in this group. And, we'll try to get something rolling, but I'd like, a max of 70 people,
sure.
which I think is going to be super obtainable. Um, I was thinking like around the $500 or $600 price point.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, I
just
just know what it costs. So I run a local meetup, and I know what it costs to have the room to do this. I mean,
yep,
people probably think, oh, Nate's just taking that $500 and stacking it in his, sock drawer. Dude, that it's not cheap to put on an event, even if it's not over the top, right? We're not
no,
even
right,
talking about hors d'oeuvres and open bar. We're just talking about like the basics.
yeah.
Yeah,
Nothing's cheap, and just like travel
sure.
costs now to get here. I
Yeah,
mean, is crazy, and hotels are crazy, and no, you're not going to stay at Red Roof Inn. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
would
Back to the murder
like,
scene. Yeah, no.
yeah, like we're
It
all
was
police and fire.
$44. Count me out. I'll sleep in my
Yeah.
truck.
It's like, how are you going to get good speakers to even get here? It's like, yeah, I got you a room, Red Roof Inn, but
Yeah, yeah. Free Narcan with every check-in. So, yeah, that sounds pretty cool, man. And then it would be, I sit there and think, I'm like, okay, well, what about the guys that work here, can't come in, whatever? You might be able to do some sort of online component to that. That's what I was thinking whenever I was looking at doing this, or we were looking at doing this, was like, how do you don't want to prevent people from coming in person, but how do I sit there and offer it to the folks that just physically or feasibly can't make it? So
yeah,
like,
I
here's
agree. And
one time access,
right,
it's $100 or whatever.
yeah, whatever it is. But I do think that like meeting with people, if
That's
you can make it, you need to be here. Like, I
yeah,
mean, that's just like me getting to know you. I mean, even like this Zoom call helps out a ton. Like Mike, I feel like
sure.
I got to know you. Tyler, same thing. Like, I think it's so much more connecting and powerful to meet even in this way. Like I'm seeing how you're reacting to things. You're seeing how I'm reacting. Like
Yeah.
the passion's
And
there.
and let's face it, for the last like 4 years, not so much the last year and a half or so, we've had this shit force fed to us where it's like this
Hmm.
Teams call, this Zoom call, it's just like it's just nice sometimes to just meet in person and like shoot the breeze. So awesome.
Hmm. So yeah, I'll definitely keep you updated.
Yeah, once you have more info, feel free, let me know, and I'd be more than happy to share it within our group. So, um, well, I guess one of the questions we usually ask, we kind of mix them up here and there, but like, is there a book, a podcast, something you would recommend to anybody, or something that you're listening to right now that kind of is like, hey man, this is pretty good stuff?
Yeah, I would say something police and fire world wise too is just like it's an awesome book is Alter Ego. I don't remember who the author is, but the reason why I think it's so good for police and fire is because when we put the uniform on, we know exactly who we need to be. Fire uniform, you know what you need to be. Police uniform, you know who you need to be. The book kind of talks about that, and it's like when you go home to your family, like what uniform are you putting on? When it first said that in the book, I usually listen to stuff audible wise,
Yeah,
but when
same
it
here.
when it first when it first asked me that, like I was like, I don't have a uniform for family. Like, it's family, but it's like, well, you're still in that police uniform. You're still bringing that home to your family, and like the whatever you need to be at police, because in your head you're not changing. And I think it's important for police and fire to have that realization that
This
you're
one.
not always. Yeah. Hmm.
It's The Alter Ego Effect by Todd Herman.
Yep. That's it. Um,
Awesome. I'll add that. I've never heard of that one.
there's all sorts of books, but that one resonated with me, and I think Police and Fire more so than other books. I mean, I've read a ton, but
Awesome.
yeah. Do it sooner. Do it sooner, or just once you realize you think you want to start something, start going to networking groups. Relationship capital is huge, and I think that if I would have kind of put myself out there, even, you go to a chamber event or wherever if you home service wise, you need obviously those things, but just go meet people, see what they do, be curious, right? Like, how are you driving that Porsche right now? Like, I'm bringing home, 70,000 a year. Like, how did you even do that? Um, just become curious with how they do it. People love talking about what they do. So if they drive up in some Rolls Royce or something and like, hey sir, how'd you do that? Like, what do you do? Like, most of the time they'll talk to you.
Yeah, I like that guy on Instagram that asks people like, "Hey, what do you do? Is this your
Yeah.
Lamborghini?" And I just thought it was funny all the ones and I'm an entertainer. They end up OnlyFans. It's like come on, there's way too many of those. So, well, awesome, man. Well, Nate, I appreciate it. Look forward to kind of seeing this whole thing build out, and look forward to having you back on. And I don't know what, but I'm sure we'll end up chatting or doing something in the future. So,
I'm
thanks for
sure.
hopping on.
You're welcome, guys. Nice meeting you.
All right, guys. Catch you next week.